Disney has known for quite some time that Rachel Zegler's Snow White movie was going to be a disaster for them. I mean, we've been talking about this movie and the backlash towards her and the entire production for years at this point. Nevertheless, they still poured over $300 million into this monstrosity, and it's finally set to release about a week from now. And as more and more things happen, the closer and closer we get, it's clear that Disney has no faith whatsoever in this film. We talked about them canceling the UK premiere, keeping Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot as separate as possible, sending Gal Gadot on the media talk show circle while Rachel Zegler goes and sings in front of people in Japan and sings in front of people in Spain, but doesn't actually answer any questions because they know that she is so stupid that if she is forced to open her mouth and say something unscripted, she'll probably fuck even more up for Disney. And after we got the UK announcement, we heard this just a few days after. Disney scales back Snow White Hollywood premiere amid Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot controversies. So yeah, they basically no press allowed. No press allowed at the premiere. For the Hollywood, the LA premiere, they don't want her answering any fucking questions, and they don't want her and Gal Gadot answering questions together. That much is pretty clear. And now you had a big article drop from the Hollywood Reporter today, essentially saying from people that are working in theater, people that are working in the entertainment industry, they're saying that Disney has no faith in this thing, and they know it's going to bomb. Inside Disney's Snow White troubles, they need to get this over with. Disney's live-action Snow White reboot starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot seemed like a can't-miss project 5 years ago. But if some PR missteps combined with anti-woke outrage turn marketing the film into a poisoned apple, well, they've done that themselves. Disney's Snow White won't hit theaters till March 21st, March 20th for previews, but for the team at the Mouse House, that date can't come soon enough. The female skewing live-action event pick, which remakes Walt Disney's cherished 1937 animated classic, has been under fire for years on social media due to a combination of the film's progressive creative decision and star Rachel Zegler's controversial comments, while also suffering from culture war attacks that seem doggedly determined to torpedo the perceived woke film no matter what. As a result, Disney is handling the movie's rollouts in some unique ways. And this is talking about exactly the things I just summarized. The UK premiere being canceled, the scaled back, quote unquote, scaled back, which Hollywood Reporter tries to defend. It's not scaled back. There's just not going to be any media or press people there, and it's going to be highly controlled. That doesn't mean scaled back. Yeah, it absolutely does mean scaled back. Snow White isn't the first major film to manage a red carpet in such a restricted way. Warner Brothers did much the same for the world premiere of The Flash, starring the embattled Ezra Miller. But Miller had been accused of several criminal acts, whereas Zegler simply generated social media blowback for comments ranging from criticizing the original film to slamming Donald Trump. Gadot, meanwhile, is a divisive figure on social media due to the Israeli actress speaking out in support of her native country since the terror attack by Hamas. Listen, there are a significant number of Gal Gadot haters out here that want to boycott the movie because Gal Gadot is in it because she's from Israel. The Rachel Zegler blowback is far bigger and far more substantial than any of the controversies that Gal Gadot has engendered from this entire thing. Let's just be straight. Even before the LA premiere news, there was a sense that Disney was being a bit bashful about Snow White. One theater owner and a rival studio source says Disney's massive marketing machine has been uncharacteristically quiet until quite recently, noting advanced ticket sales didn't commence until Monday, less than 2 weeks before the film's release. Miniseries live action in recent years, yes, usually they release them about a month out. It's pretty typical. At a month out, tickets start being released to be sold so we can get pre-sale tracking numbers. They didn't do that with Snow White. And maybe there's a reason. Because they're not selling very well. Disney put Snow White tickets on sale just 10 days before release, and it's not looking good. Disney Springs AMC dedicates minimal screens to Rachel Zegler release. And we can go to this right here. Now, for some of the exclusive ones like the dine-in delivery to the seat, you have some of these that are fairly full, right? Smaller theater. Like this is actually a pretty big theater that is pretty full for them. What about this one? 4:30 showing for AMC. Now, this is a smaller theater, not anywhere close to full. What about the 8:30 dine-in delivered a seat? Probably a smaller theater. That one's getting there. That one's close to full. But you look at the big theaters, it doesn't look very good for them. Look at this. This is for the 8 p.m. showing at Disney AMC Springs, Orlando, right? At Disney Springs, Orlando. This is one of the biggest. These are always packed when new Disney things come out because it's right in the heart of Disney. And they've sold what? 6, maybe like 10 right here, 20, 26. So it's somewhere in the realm of 26 out of this entire theater. Oh, is the 7 o'clock showing any better? Let's look at the 7 o'clock showing. The 7 o'clock showing's even worse. Even more empty seats. Maybe some will start to pour in the next week, but this has been out there for a little while now, and there is seemingly no interest. So maybe that's why they waited so long to release these tickets, so they'd have to deal with the blowback for the poor ticket sales as little a time as possible. They've been going all through the motions on Snow White, but saying we need to get this over with. An exhibition source tells THR. An advanced sales cycle of less than 2 weeks just screams we have zero faith in this thing. And it couldn't come as a worse point when the industry is just trying to limp along until May. Disney insiders dispute this narrative, saying they always intended to hold back the film's big promotional push until the final few weeks, beginning when Zegler and Godot presented together at the Oscars. That didn't work out very well for you, did it? Not at all. Ironically, the film is tracking rather nicely for a March release, despite all the hand-wringing and hubbub, with Snow White likely debuting at 50 to 56 million domestically, according to a leading tracking service. If it comes in on the high end, it'd be somewhat on par with Cinderella from 2015. But an exhibitor source worried that unless there's a late-breaking surge of moviegoer interest, the opening might be more in line with Dumbo's 45 million in 2019. And even if it's 50 to 56, I tend to think it'll skew a little bit higher as we get towards the end and end up somewhere in that 60, maybe a little bit more than 60 million frame. Even if that's the case, that is about 2/3 of what The Little Mermaid made in its opening weekend. I think those are the best comparators right now. We have a Disney live-action bastardized remake that had some backlash that released 2 years ago in The Little Mermaid. We now have a Disney live-action bastardization that's underwent a significant more amount of backlash than we saw for Little Mermaid, despite that definitely having some backlash. And it would be opening to 2/3 of that. Little Mermaid went on to make about $560 million worldwide. I don't think Snow White is going to sniff that based on these numbers. It'll likely have a hold similar to that as well. And like right now, even the Hollywood insiders and even the Hollywood trades right now are basically saying Disney's fucking done with this thing. They know that it's a bomb. They know that it's a disaster. And they're just counting the days before this thing finally comes out and flops.